You're listening to Well Met, a Hearthstone podcast brought to you by BlizzPro.com.
Well met.
Hey everybody, welcome to a very special one-day late episode of Well Met. I'm John Horstman, and with me we've got an incredible crew. We'll get to that in a second, but first, not from Saskatoon, from Kansas City, it is Mr. J.R. Cook. Hey J.R.
Hey John, how's it going? It's Monday.
It is Monday.
It's late Monday. I might fall asleep, but I'm going to try not to, because I'm old.
I would appreciate that if you didn't fall asleep during the show. We kind of need you.
Yeah, if I just start, if you just hear, snoring, just ignore it.
All right.
And, we'll move on.
And that beautiful sounding voice over there from Las Vegas, Nevada, it is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tannon Grace. Tannon, welcome back to the show for a second time.
Oh, man, it's been too long, honestly. I really enjoyed the first time on the show, and hopefully under better circumstances, I'll be able to come back again sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys didn't notice, we are missing Mr. Kevin this week. He had a bit of a family emergency going on. Tannon was awesome, stepped in last moment, and of course, couldn't have imagined a better replacement. He's got the scruffy little beard thing going, which is exactly what Kevin has. I mean, he's basically got everything going on, so it's going to be perfect.
I just like seeing you guys sitting in basically the same chair here, too.
Oh, it is. It's the same chair.
Yeah, it's totally the same.
Yeah. Hopefully I could do half as good of a job as he does, so.
Oh, man. I love this show already. This is going to be fun. All right, guys. Before we get into it, we just want to thank our friends of the show. So we kind of redid our Patreon rewards last week. And Martin Z and Jeremy A, huge thank you. You are our first ever friends of the show, and so this show is coming to you thanks to them. So thank you guys, and if you guys want to know more what that's all about, head over to patreon.com/wellmedpodcast. Let's talk about our weeks in Hearthstone. Tannon, do the honors.
Well, so last week I actually played in one of the Tavern Hero tournaments that qualify you for the Winter Regionals if you were to win them, and wow. I was a little unfortunate in not winning the last game of the tournament. I actually made it all the way to the finals and came up one game short. Yeah, so I would have actually been able to compete in regionals this year and had a chance at making BlizzCon instead of just talking about BlizzCon and regionals this year like I'm normally known for. Would have been nice to, get a finish as a player instead of just a caster, but other than that, I've just been playing a decent amount. I find myself a little less motivated because of the changes that are coming, which I'm sure we'll get to in this show.
What changes?
About. Oh, yeah. You haven't heard about this? Maybe we'll talk about it in a second.
Educate me.
Other than that, just grinding away on those ladders.
Nice. Are you running any particular deck right now?
Yeah, mostly I am sticking a lot with different versions of Reno Lock because, all of your games are slightly different. It's a little less monotonous than some of the other decks that you play. And I'll probably get into this a little later in the show when we go to the meta reports, but I've actually been playing a lot of Hunter lately, and it's much better than people think it is right now.
I've been saying that, and we were talking a little bit before the show, and you were telling me a little bit about what you're running. I'm going to run that this week. I'm not going to tell anybody about it.
Okay, cool. We'll keep it our little secret.
JR, how about your week, man?
Well, I've been hitting the ladder pretty hard this week where I can. My goal was... So the way that I'm going to actually try to hit Legend again this month. I've just decided I'm going to try to do it, see what happens. When I do that, my goal is in the first week to hit rank 10, second week hit rank 5, and then I have the last 2 weeks of the season to try to get to Legend. So I'm at rank 10 right now, so that's where I've hit. So I hit my first goal, so we're good on there. Been playing mid-range hunt, not mid-range hunter. We were just talking about I've been playing mid-range druid. Yeah. Because that is my deck of choice. I finally got the 500 wins on it. So I got my golden druid. So,
Wow.
that'll
Congrats.
scare people and think I'm awesome at the game or something. So I make sure with my golden hero and my legend card backs, like it's a psych out reason, right? Because they're going to think I'm really, really good at this game, and then I'm going to win because of that. So that's my strategy this month to get to legend again.
With my legend, with my legend card back, I usually just coin out 2 secrets and then concede. It's basically what I do. They're like,
it's a valid strategy, totally valid strategy.
That's how you do. You lower that MMR so you get easier games climbing up. That's a really good strategy.
I agree 100%. So how about you, John?
We've got so much going on between Well Met and the payload, and I just got through my first 2 weeks of school. I actually didn't get to touch a whole lot of Hearthstone. I did get a little bit of time on Rocket League, which was nice. I played with my little brother, but I didn't get as much time on Hearthstone as I wanted to this week because I've been working with Jake Butno on new music. I've been working with 2 graphic design peeps for a new layout, as well as kind of redoing some of our logo work. And on top of that, trying to do some stuff for sound. And so that took my playing time a little bit.
That and this week has just been insane on news. We did that extra bonus video episode, our reaction to the new things that we're going to be talking about here. It's been a really busy week for Hearthstone for sure. And
absolutely.
For the show.
It has been a really busy week, and we should probably talk about it in the news.
This week in Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
Yeah. So big news this week. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. I shouldn't say we, Kevin, JR, and I, we sat down on Monday this last week, right? And we spent some time talking about the new announcements with the things coming in Hearthstone. So if this doesn't go deep enough for you, and it should go pretty deep. If it doesn't, we've got a whole other YouTube video on youtube.com/BlizzPro, where you can also check our initial reactions as we just kind of like really kind of lost like, and just like we hadn't gotten done, really get soaking any of it in. And so
the news had only been out for like 2 hours or so.
Yeah.
We're like, let's do a stream. Let's do a stream. And so we did. We had like over 50 people in chat. It was awesome. Everyone was super excited to start talking about all the new changes coming in. So if you want to know more, go check that out. It's not going to be on the podcast feed. We just decided that that's not the way we wanted that part to go. And it's really visual anyway, because we go through a web page. But it is there on YouTube for you to check out. All right. Now, news. This is big. And so just this last week, on Monday, the Hearthstone team posted, quote unquote, a new way to play. That's right. We're seeing big changes to Hearthstone coming here. And man, this is big. This is something that Hearthstone has needed. I'm going to give you a quick rundown. We're going to kind of tactfully try to conquer all this news in a nice, concise way. But let's talk about it. So, when you go and you hit the play button and you go into ranked, it's changing a little bit. So now what you've got is they're introducing a standard mode and a wild mode. Tannon, can you kind of tell us a little bit about standard and wild?
All right, so the wild format, that's what you're going to be playing right now. If you're playing ladder today or yesterday or tomorrow, that's what you're playing. You're playing wild. It's every card, is legal. Standard, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to have to tailor your deck a little bit differently. All the original cards are going to be legal, but you're going to be missing 2 sets. Goblins versus Gnomes and Naxxramas. Yeah, is going to be out. So, no more Piloted Shredder, no more Lotheb. So you're getting a brand new format, new decks, new interactions. I couldn't be more excited. What about you, JR?
Oh, totally. I think it's great. I think one of the things the benefits of this right off the bat is it gets rid of a couple expansions that were kind of overpowered, that the Hearthstone team was kind of still learning the design process on how they wanted their sets to be, and probably shot a little high with them, with cards like Piloted Shredder, Dr. Boom, any of the sticky minions that absolutely became a staple of the game. So it kind of gets rid of that. So you're going to see a lot of like really fresh new decks in Standard. And I think that's really cool. And it's a really good way of keeping the game fresh and alive, especially the competitive scene, so that we're not seeing the exact same decks for the next 5-10 years and people get bored of it. This is something that Magic the Gathering has done and has been very, very successful with.
Tannon, I know that you are obviously super familiar with Magic the Gathering as well. Little bit. Yeah. We kind of got JR's take a little bit about how Magic does it and the benefits of it, but I do want to hear your thoughts too in comparing it to Magic, especially about how this is going to affect the longevity of Hearthstone. One of the big things that Ben Brode said when they were discussing this is we know Hearthstone's a great game now. We want to set it up to be a great game in the future, and this was their solution to doing that. Tell us, if you think that, give us the Magic spin, I guess I would say.
Right. So JR hit it all directly on the head. As a former pro Magic player, I've gone through the ins and outs of like the entirety of the game because you have multiple different formats to play, not just what would be Wild and Standard in what Magic the Gathering is. So the game originated in like 1993, and eventually, if the game is going to stay around, if it's going to be fresh and change, you have to have formats. You can't just have every card be legal for the eternity of time. Things won't change enough. And when that happened in Magic, there was the, oh my God, the sky is falling reaction that you're seeing a lot right now in Hearthstone. And I think the biggest thing I want to tell everybody is, hold on, chill out, wait a minute. It's actually really good for this game. It's the best thing that could happen to Hearthstone, I think, in the last year, besides maybe the patron nerf. And it might just actually be better than this. Talking with a lot of my friends over the last year, like I got really close in a discussion with Admirable about this and, some of Team Archon. And we were talking about how monotonous the game became. You saw the same decks every single tournament. You saw when someone played like Priest in a tournament, you were like, oh my God, this is so different. Because everyone does the exact same thing. They play the exact same 5 decks. Now that's going to change. We have different formats, different cards illegal. It's going to be a brewer's paradise. If you're good at changing up your deck to beat an established metagame, you have I know it's less cards, but it actually involves, doing more with less cards, believe it or not. I know that sounds weird, but you can start to really create edges with very small amounts of card changes. Changing 1 or 2 cards in your deck is very big when the card pool is smaller. And like JR said, we're getting rid of some of the cards that you could kind of asterisk and put the word mistake next to, or this card might be a little too good, and it's going to be nice to be able to play a 4-drop and not have it trade with your opponent's 4-drop and they get a 2-drop for it and stuff like that. So this opens up a big, wide new world in the game. Plus, we've just scratched the surface of this, honestly. They're going to buff cards. They're going to nerf cards. We're going to get a new set. I guarantee you the next discussion that comes out of Hearthstone with this, like when Blizzard announces what date this is going to take effect, they're going to announce the next set. We're going to get, a spoiler of another new card, another 2 or 3 new cards, probably a new keyword, and the internet is going to explode and people are going to be happy about it. They're going to be like, Standard's great. The sky isn't falling.
I think one of the best things that might come out of this, and I'm hoping that they reveal this or talk about it, or I'm hoping that I'm right on this, is I think they're going to go with kind of the Magic the Gathering format too, where they're going to release this big giant set at the beginning of the year and then probably have 2 smaller sets later in the year, probably maybe 2 adventure modes, maybe an adventure mode and maybe just a small set. We'll see. And they can design that for that entire year. So, like, if you wanted dragons to be a theme, in Standard, you're going to introduce them with the, the big set that comes out at the beginning of the year. And then you can basically supplement that in the next 2 sets. So you're planning out kind of an entire year of how you want Hearthstone to look like. And that's kind of what Magic the Gathering does right now. And I think it's really cool because then it has a better flow to it. And then when that year comes out as standard, then you have something completely new and fresh to take its place. And that's what I'm hoping they do. And if they do that as well, it'll also give us probably a very distinct release schedule from Blizzard that we can expect year to year. We kind of already sort of actually have that in Hearthstone, just not officially. And I think this could make it more official. And the reason they would do that, the reason why I say the bigger sets at the beginning of the year, though, is because you want those sets to last the longest. Because once they bring out, it in standard, you don't want to release a big set that had the shortest amount of time in the format.
Yeah, and I'd like to elaborate on something you said there. You made a really, really good point. The best part about this that Magic does is, it's like he said, they release a big set followed by 2 smaller sets, and this thing happens called rotation. So when the new big set comes in, it pushes out another set. And I think that's going to be the way that Hearthstone's going to do it. And that keeps things fresh. It keeps things moving. So when I was playing professional Magic, I'd be playing tournaments probably every weekend, but I'd be playing the bigger end tournaments, once a month, quarterly. We had pro tours 3 or 4 times a year that we would go to, and you could be anywhere in the world. And every time you went to them, something was drastically new or changed. It was never the same thing. And if you think about almost every major that happened over the last year in Hearthstone, can you tell me major changes that happened when a card didn't get changed? Because that didn't happen. And you're going to start having that happen in Hearthstone, and that monotonous is going to go away, and it's going to be fresh and new every few months. And it's going to be so awesome for the game. This was something that had to happen. It was a natural progression, and it is a positive step, guys. Just don't freak out at home.
All right, you two lovebirds. I get it. You're in love with Standard. Magic did it first. Everyone's excited. Love is in the air. Valentine's Day, you guys are going to go on a nice walk on a beach. I get it. But I like my broken cards. I like my Dr. Boom. I like my piloted Shredder that I run in every deck, regardless on the synergistic value of that card. So I'm just out of luck now. All these cards that I've collected are just going, just poof, gone. Thousands, hundreds of dollars. It's just gone.
No, you still get to play them in Wild, John. And, I know how it is. Sometimes you need Dr. Boom to win, John. We know that, you need these big broken cards to win a game of Hearthstone.
I need Dr. 6 and I need Dr. 7. That's what I need. And Dr. 5 in Lotheb. And Dr. 1 in Zombie Chow. And Dr. 4. I mean, there's so many cards that I need,
you need
that
all
are
the
going
doctors.
away.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about this. When you start playing Standard, the decks are going to feel underpowered. It's probably going to feel somewhere between playing Constructed and playing Arena to you. Somewhere in between that. And then you're going to play this for a little while, and then you're like, I'm going to go play a game of Wild. And then you play a game of Wild, and you're like, man, this deck is broken. You're like, I didn't realize how good we had it. I didn't realize how good these cards are. So you still get the nostalgia value, and there's still going to be, Wild tournaments. There's still going to be, big games and big tournaments and big stuff on streams of Wild. It's just Standard's going to be the new darling. You're going to have to put up with it a lot at first.
And the Blizzard team did say that the World Championship Tour is going to be in Standard mode. So
it should be. It should be.
Absolutely agree. Keep it fresh. You got to keep that stuff rotating out. Keep the players on their toes. Tannon, you're getting too good with these cards. We need to get you some new ones, make you relearn some decks, and go from there.
I love smaller formats. It definitely is a skill tester for sure.
Great. So this year they are donning the Year of the Kraken, and I guess we're going to get a new year name every year. So I like that. The Year of the Kraken. I needed the soundbite, JR. I didn't get it. I'm sorry. So we talked about Wild. What about ranks? So right now it's, you can play unranked, and you just kind of play for fun and try decks, and it doesn't affect your ranking really at all. And then now that you have these 2 modes, how is ranking going to work, JR?
It's going to work a little bit differently because you're going to have 2 different ranks. You're going to have a rank specific for Standard and a rank specific for Wild. and you can rank up in one or the other. I don't think they've given any details yet on how, if there's going to be a new card back for one or the other or anything like that. And I really doubt they're going to do it, because I really doubt that they're going to try to, tell you need to rank up in both or anything like that. They'll probably just be like, do whatever one you are comfortable with doing. You don't need to feel obligated to rank up in standard now. Okay, now I need to go rank up in wild so I can get, maybe separate card backs or things like that. I would imagine the card back system is, as long as you're ranked 20 or above in one of the two, you're going to get your card back. If you get to legend in one or the other, you're going to get your legend card back. They're probably not going to distinct them, because to me that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But I don't think they've given any details about that, though.
And quests too, right? So
yeah.
you can do quests in wild mode as well. Basically, wild is the Hearthstone you're playing now. Yep. And everything else basically stays the same. The only thing is you cannot, and I think it's done anyway, you can't earn World Championship Tour points in wild, only in standard. Starting, right. I think we're past that point, right? There's no more Winter Championship points being given. So that has been locked in.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the first person who is double legend on every server, like 6-time legend in 1 month.
Time. Well, I mean, you can just do it in Secret Paladin and Wild, and just
you can do it like 3 days. Yeah,
3 days, 3 hours, basically.
Yeah.
Another really
Tannon's
cool thing.
Gonna do it too.
Oh yeah. I don't have an Asian account yet, so maybe I should get on that.
You should. Another thing that is going to be happening as these new changes are going to be implemented is the Hearthstone is going to reevaluate some of the classic and basic cards. Ben Brode said on Twitter, they're looking at anywhere from 2 to 20 cards to make some changes to. And so I have 2 questions for this. I have to try to figure out how I'm going to frame them well without leading you too much. The first question would be, do you think that this is going to be a one-time thing, or do you think, and I'll shoot this over to Tannon, that Blizzard is going to be more proactive with the card sets, at least in Standard and maybe in Wild as well, in balancing those in a lot of ways that the community's been asking for? Hey, we need more proactive balancing and more proactive nerfs or buffs? Or do you think this is just kind of a one-time thing, like a mini reset before we kind of stay the course, hopefully, and then really cards get buffed and nerfed based on the new cards that come out?
I'm going to answer the second part first. I think they're going to, obviously buff and nerf some cards. And let's be honest, this is the first time they're doing anything like this for an actual format. And, Magic has got, 20 years on them. They have a good process. They have people playing the sets a year in advance. Like the stuff that we're going to see in Magic a year from now, people are already playing that at Wizards of the Coast. So, they stay away from this stuff. I doubt that it'll be a one-time thing. I think you're going to see some of the most broken and like unfair stuff get taken away. Like I think the overlapping thought everyone has is that Force Roar is going to change somehow. We just can't have that in a small set. That's going to be everything that everyone's doing. So yeah, they may change that and then change a couple other pieces, see what the format looks like, and then you're going to see a constant evolve, and you're going to see it less and less as they go on. Like I think they're going to be very hands-on at first, very active, and then once stuff starts to, because it's going to work itself out. The players are going to break stuff. We're going to figure out what works. We're going to figure out what's best, and then they're going to dial it back a little bit from here or there, because some classes are going to be way worse than others. Like I don't know how you make a warrior deck right now in standard with the cards that we have. It does not look very good. I could be wrong. Obviously, I am just as often as I am right. But they may have to change a few things. Do we make some cards? Do we bring Warsong Commander back? Things like that. And so I think they're going to be very hands-on at first, and I really hope they are, and that they take the community's voice into effect. I think it's the best thing they could do is see what a lot of the top players are saying, maybe even bring some of them in for some consulting on it. And then as time goes on, just kind of let it take shape of itself. It'll self-correct. What do you think, JR?
I agree with that. I agree with that for the most part. I think one of the things that they're also going to do is that they're going to be a lot more active in the standard set on things that will be nerfed, and they'll probably do it a lot faster than you have seen them do it in the past with Wild, with our current system. And the reason for that is they want this to be the competitive side of Hearthstone. This is what's going to give people championship points, etc. And it allows them to also nerf in a bubble because they only have, a handful of sets. If the card is absolutely broken in the handful of sets, number one, that's probably a mistake that they made just in the design and balancing part before. So they'll probably just want to go ahead and just get it fixed at that point. The nice thing is, once that's fixed and it goes into, and then, it's okay. They may not have to nerf them as much, as heavy-handed either, like they did before, because they might just have to nerf it so that it works in standard, and then once it gets into Wild, it can be possibly overpowered, maybe, really good. That's not to say that they're not looking to nerf in Wild. I just think in Wild, if they nerf something, it's probably not going to be as soon. If something is a major problem in Wild, like Patron Warrior or something like that, you're probably going to see the same amount of time that it took them to finally fix Patron Warrior before. But in Standard, I think they'll be a lot quicker with that. As far as the Classic sets go, I think it's important that they do nerf some of the mainstay cards. It's going to be healthy for the game going forward, because otherwise, especially Druid, you're going to see the same deck over and over, because Druid is made by all classic cards almost, and then a handful of things from other sets. And
Freeze Mage too.
Freeze Mage is another one. Absolutely. Those are kind of the big two that are probably going to see the most nerfs. What I would like to see them do, though, is introduce the concept of a core set that is changing every year. But they haven't said they're going to do that, so... But they did say that they're not opposed to doing that in the future. So there is hope.
Good old Hearthstone team, leaving their options open, saying things without saying things. Yeah. They're actually usually really transparent, so I joke about it, but they're actually being pretty transparent.
Yeah.
Even Ben Brode about Wild, he's kind of even said, nerfing cards might make both formats more fun. So it's not cool, once it's out of Standard, we're not worried and we're not touching it anymore. It's a giant free-for-all. And he also had another tweet, too, that was, Wild should be a rad format going forward. If it's not, we'll make changes until it is. So for you... Go ahead.
On that point, this is something that no one's explored. What if they unnerf cards in Wild? What if we get some of the original versions or better versions of these cards if they just want to make the format crazy powerful again? Secret Paladin's great. Good luck dealing with Blizzard. Buzzard Unleash, from back in the day. Or Undertaker's back to normal for the next few months, guys. Have fun. That kind of stuff.
No, not that.
No.
Not that.
What an awful idea.
I mean, come on. No, what I would like to see them do, though, is buff some of the cards that they nerfed when the game was still in beta. Like Novice Engineer,
right.
Head Crack from Rogue, even Defiance Ringleader, and things like that made Rogue, good, really good in beta, but now would make Rogue a little bit better, not super powerful. I would like to see them kind of bring those back, but I don't think they have any plans on doing that right now.
Just an idea.
Yeah.
Something that's been really surprising to me, too, is how hard Blizzard has hit the 2 slot with these changes, right? You're seeing so many... your 2 drops were so powerful in the game that you ran them and they were super important, and you would run 3-4 of them in mid-range decks, and sometimes 5 or 6 in faster aggro decks. And with Minibot leaving, Haunted Creeper leaving, it's not a 2-drop necessarily, but Muster for Battle even, that kind of early 2-3 drop, just impossible to deal with, strongest thing, aggression. Do you think they're trying to not elongate the game, but kind of those cards aren't necessarily punishing, even if they're drawn late, you know, where it's like you can always use a knife juggler, you know, on turn 2, and that's not changing necessarily, but you draw a mini bot and it's not like the worst thing in the world. Do you think they're trying to not punish, but release or reduce that incentive for just like including the strongest individual cards in an individual card slot?
I think they're trying that a little bit, yeah. And I think it's going to be organic, though, in a way where you actually have less cards now, basically, to build from than you do right now. So I think it's going to kind of just work itself out in a way where maybe playing, you know, 6 2-drops isn't really the best thing because maybe there's better cards that you want to draw later. And maybe that's, you know, and it forces you to really make that acknowledgement of, do I really want to play aggro right now and just pure aggro, or do I want to play something a little more mid-range, something a little more, maybe a little more control-y or things like that? Whereas right now I feel like if you play mid-range, like a lot of the decks that are really good aren't real true mid-range decks. They're like aggro in mid-range. Like, they're a hybrid. They're more of a hybrid. And those are what the really good decks are. Like, if you think about... Because I feel like that way with Mid-Range Druid. Like, Mid-Range Druid feels very hybrid in nature. And that's why it's so good. Look at Hybrid Hunter when that was really good. You know, it was Mid-Range Hunter and Face Hunter. I think it's going... Like, those kind of decks aren't going to be as prevalent now because there won't be the cards specifically to support it, unless this new set comes out and completely changes my mind on that.
Yeah, those are some really good points. I think you're going to see a real onus on tempo in Standard, because here's the thing. It's just like you said, John, you hit it right on the head. You don't have, you know, mini bot into muster anymore. You don't have the game decided on turns 2 and 3, even though we need to play 9 turns for it to actually happen. But, I mean, how many times have you played a game against Secret Paladin where, you know, they've mini-botted on 2, they've mustered on 3, and they've piloted shreddered on 4, and you know you're dead. You're like, I'm like 10% to win this game, but I have to play it out for, you know, 7 more turns, and you're behind every game. So you're going to see a lot more games where people are evenly matched for the first, you know, 5 to 6 turns of the game, and the game's going to be a little more interactive. It's not someone immediately climbing from behind on turn 2, you know, as early as turn 1 or 2 every single game. So you're going to see more interactive games. They'll probably still last about the same amount of time, but the first person with a big tempo swing, like the first person to BGH something and play another spell in a turn, or just to, you know, really take the board, they're going to be winning games. So you're going to see people, I mean, this is something that hasn't been talked about a little bit. You're going to have to play the game a little differently than you do in Wild. Like Standard, you're going to have to play either like more aggressively at times, more defensively at times, because there's more lines to take now. It's not just, you know, the Archon way, as we used to say all the time when I was in the house, is what's the best turn for you? Play your most expensive minion and hit him in the face. And that's not going to be the case all the time in Standard.
Yeah, I definitely agree with where that's going. I think we should move on a little bit, because we're going to go all day about everything. But before we do, there's so much to talk. Before we move on, though, I do want to ask you, you have a couple of cards that you can change in the basic classic set, and you are the one making those changes. Which cards are you changing, and what changes would you like to make? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but Tannon, what cards would you change?
I would make Lotheb evergreen. I know it's not exactly what you're saying. You think I would actually change a card in the classic set, but I think Lotheb is so important to the tournament scene and just tournament decks. I think it's the best card in tournament Hearthstone. It's probably my favorite card in the game. So I'd love to see that be just evergreen. And I know they said, you know, we aren't planning on doing reprints, but with what JR said, he's like, I really agree with them. I want them to do core sets. In Magic, they used to reprint like 10 to 20 cards in every core set, because they were so important that they were in Standard, and you're going to see that start happening in Hearthstone. And I don't think it's a bad idea to like reprint a card. So that, and then maybe I think Alex Straza might need to be visited as a card that needs to be looked at. That card is going to be very powerful in the new Standard, because as you said, you're going to see a lot of Freeze Mage, and that card is just very oppressive if the format is going to slow down like people think it is.
All right. JR, what about you?
I mean, everything Tannon said, I basically 100% agree with.
This is really weird. We haven't had JR agree with people on this show before. I don't really know how to...
Me and Tannon go back, man. We
used
to play Magic the Gathering against each other in our diapers.
Yeah, good old bromance.
And the sad thing is that was like 5 years ago.
Still come on.
Got him.
That was a good one.
Yeah. All right, so basically everything Tannon said.
Well, yeah, mostly. But as far as like, I mean, I said it earlier that Druid needs to be changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like they have so many cards that need to go out. But I agree with Alex Straza. I wish Lotheb was going to be in. I do want to make a comment though about his core set thing that he was talking about and how they would do reprints. And I had this idea, and I kind of wanted to just talk about it just really quick on how they can do reprints. Is I think it would be really cool if they offer like a core pack when they come out with like core cards or whatever that you can buy, and then they would include instead of like it being a new set, it would just go to the existing sets. So if you, let's say they bring back Haunted Creeper, and you open it up, it would just go into your Curse of Naxxramas. So if you never bought Curse of Naxxramas and you can't purchase it now you have the card instead of having to go and dust it.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. And then, so if you open up those new ones as a player, like, yeah, I already got all these cards, I can just dust them, but maybe I never got Dr. Boom, and they bring back Dr. Boom for some really silly reason. And, then I can open up Dr. Boom again, and it would just go in my GVG slot. And then, so your core would just be just those cards. Like, they can make it like a separate page or something of what your core cards for that season are. And I think that if they ever did reprints, I think that's the way to do it, rather than putting it in a brand new set that is separate from everything else. Because I would feel very cheated that I bought something to have a card now 4 times.
That's fair. I think that's one of the liberties that you get with it being a digital card game, is that you can very easily make that happen, whereas with reprints, it's kind of a little bit different because, maybe they make those small changes.
I mean, the nice thing about Magic the Gathering is, they do reprints, so you're getting newer versions of the card. But if you go into standard tournaments, you can use the older versions of the card, and it's legal.
Now,
so
listen,
if you have the old cards, you can use them.
I do know a thing or two about Magic. And both of those things I just said in the last sentence. So we're gonna have to move on, and let's talk about the other exciting news about this really quick. So another really exciting thing coming to your Hearthstone game client, deck slots. We're getting some more deck slots. Finally, 18. You get another 9. You get another game mode, but you get another 9. All right. This is the question everyone's been waiting for. JR, is this enough?
It's never going to be enough. They can open up 100 of them, and people will want 101, and then they'll go, okay, here's 101, now I want 102. It's never going to be enough. They have that problem with Diablo 3 right now with stash space. They can open it up to whatever you want. This is fair, though, because now I can have 9 wild decks and 9 standard decks. Or if I only play standard, then I can have 18, standard decks. And that's cool.
Tannon, what do you think?
I get to make 18 18 different Reno decks now. This is great. I love it.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think normal people, I'm just kidding, not normal people, but I would say the average player probably has 3 or 4 different decks that they're actively playing in a game mode. This finally affords you to have, a couple of different decks for a couple of different game modes. But really all I care about is I have 6 different versions of mid-range Druid with just little tech changes. And it's so meticulous to I'd rather just have a mid-range Druid that says aggro day. And I'd have a mid-range Druid that says mid-range day. And, being able to just choose that deck slot or choose that deck rather than having to go in, take out 2 or 3 cards, put 2 or 3 back in, and then queue in and like, crap, I forgot to change my deck. It's just the worst thing. So I'm most excited about that. I think 18 decks is a good start to at least get people to shut up. But
they won't.
It's true, they won't. But it's a little confusing for the interface, as is. So we got to ease into it and then, go from there.
What's going to be confusing is when I make 18 Face Hunter decks.
And then rant on the show about how much you hate Face Hunter.
Yeah, because they filled up all my deck slots.
Oh my God. I quit this show.
From a personal standpoint, I'm actually pretty excited about it because, doing what I do, I'm mostly known as a caster in Hearthstone. I try to not get pigeonholed into playing the same deck over and over and over again. And so I try to play all of the decks as much as possible. So when I'm casting, I have as much knowledge about the decks as I can possibly get. And so having 18 deck slots helps a lot because I definitely play 18 different decks a month.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man, you're so much better at this game than me. I hate you.
Every time someone good, or every time a big player, especially someone I would be casting a match of, posts a deck on Twitter, I immediately screenshot it on my phone, and it's the next deck that I play when I get home. I put in a decent bit of time into this game. It's unfortunate, but it's fun at the same time.
It is fun. It's addicting.
Mm-hmm.
It's why we're doing a podcast about it, actually.
Yeah.
So
I would think of worse things to waste my time with.
All right.
Yeah, so.
I do have to... There's an elephant in the room with all this. So far, obviously, the spin has been very positive about these new changes. Oh, yeah, that's right. Very good. Yes. Before in the pre-show, for those on audio, in the pre-show, there was a really weird noise that happened. And I was like, is there an elephant in your room, Tannon? And he actually looked to see if there was an elephant. And then I just said there's an elephant in the room. So
embarrass me some more, please. I love it.
God. Okay, but the I don't know, the Reno Jackson in the room is GVG and Nax are going away. This is great for the competitive scene. It's great for the longevity of the game, but it's not necessarily great for everybody. There are some people who are pretty upset about these changes. One mainly, actually, my brother. So this is on behalf of my brother because I'm getting an earful from him right now. Literally about 3.5, 4 weeks ago, he's like, John, I want to get into Hearthstone. Like, awesome, dude, let's get you into Hearthstone. He just goes, I'm ready, I'm going to drop $50. I'm like, cool, go get Nax Ramus, craft Dr. Boom, and do these things. And then I literally had to PayPal him. I'm like, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I PayPal'd my brother $50. So I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I totally gave you the wrong info. So obviously this is not a win-win scenario for everybody. And it's kind of a niche thing. It's only in this amount of time. I'd say it's an awkward transition. Do you think just Blizzard kind of saying, meh, suck it up, you'll be all right? Do you think that's okay? Do you think that Blizzard should find a way to, not necessarily refund, but give them an opportunity to be like, hey, you just bought these cards and these packs, and now that competitive mode, you can't use it anymore? Or is Wild enough of an incentive to, like, keep it there?
There is a pretty easy fix to this. They could do what they did with Leroy Jenkins in the fact that, for, I think it was like a week after they nerfed it, if you dusted it, you got the full dust amount, so you could turn it into a different legendary. They could possibly do that. They're like, hey, if you want to dust your Dr. Boom this week, your Dr. Boom gives you, 3,200 dust, and you can turn it into a legendary that's in standard that you didn't have. So that's a pretty easy fix. I can see the argument. I'm probably the wrong person to have this argument because, I just have all the cards.
Oh, I am too.
Yeah. I have a free-to-play account that I've never spent $1 on, and I'm actually kind of excited because I can get cards from the wings that I don't have now. I can just dust them because I have dust, but I'm trying to see how far I can bring an account without spending $1 on it. And I can make cards now that I couldn't make before, but, it's going to be harder to get some of the standard cards that I need now. I need like 2,800 gold to get Reno Jackson, so.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing, right? And the thing I've been telling people, yes, it's a little bit of an awkward transition right now, and there are people who are going to be bummed by it, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah, agreed.
But by doing this now, we aren't going to have to hopefully do it in the future, meaning that you know exactly what to expect from the cards that you're getting, and you know how long they're good for, and the ones that you know won't really change. And I think ultimately that's a healthy, good thing for Hearthstone. But I can definitely see.
I think is it like a good act of faith to go kind of with what Tannon said too, is they can do something fun for like the pre-release of the next set, like you know, doing something goofy to allow people to maybe acquire a few more packs in it that they can get on top of whatever packs they purchase with gold or money.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Sorry, Tannon, were you about to do something? Sorry.
No, man, waiting for you.
Okay, cool. Well, let's. Am I missing anything else from the new way to play here that you guys really want to touch on? I feel like we've hit it kind of all. We got wild. Yeah, we got all of it. Tannon you did hit on a good point that you do get to now purchase or get these new cards from Dust, or the cards that go into wild or fade out of standard. You can buy them with Dust. But this is something good that we should chat about really quick. So the adventure modes. So cool. All right, the cards are gone. I can dust them. Big deal. But so someone starts playing Hearthstone for the first time. Naxxramas was really great. That was great single player content that they're taking out of the game. Do you think that they're going to bring that back or make that available in some other way? Or do you think it's just gone?
I think it's going to be gone for now. I think they'll have a throwback thing possibly, 3 or 4 years from now. Hopefully Hearthstone still is popular then. I think it will be, honestly. And you touched on a really good point, and I think this is another thing people aren't thinking about. The reason they're doing this the way they are, and they're making you can dust them but you can't buy them anymore, is they're like moving you in the right direction, especially if you're new. You know what I mean? Like the new player can't accidentally buy the wrong wings now. They can, because like standard is what they should be getting into. It's a smaller set for them to get into. It's kind of daunting right now when you start playing Hearthstone. You're like, there's so many cards. There's so many different ways to get all of them. It's so hard to find all of this because I need like 2 cards from Nax, 1 from Black Mountain, 1 from League of Explorers. And you're like, this is a lot of time commitment, a lot of money commitment. Now it's easier. There's less stress on them, and they're just kind of pushed gently in the right direction. So I think Blizzard is just doing it the right way.
I think, too, as a new player, when you start to look at the shop and all of a sudden you have like 10 different decks that you can choose from, like imagine the overwhelming like choice that you might have, and how that would deter me from the game. When my little brother was like, what should I get? You search on the internet and everyone says, Dr. Boom, and then agrees on nothing else. And so, that's going to make that problem a lot better, too. It's like, cool, get your basic and classic cards. Here's the good ones right now. And then, here's these. They're good for this much longer before they fade out. So don't try to buy every card in the set if you're not going to be using them.
Now, Young Woo did say on Twitter, though, that they are planning on bringing those adventure modes back at some point. They just don't have details on how that's going to work yet.
Throwback Thursday, play Naxxramas.
Tavern Brawl, maybe?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, I totally agree. There's got to be something there. All right, well, I think that about sums up our Year of the Kraken review, Part 2. Again, you can get the full-long Part 1 as well on YouTube with Kevin and JR. But let's go ahead. Let's touch on the esports scene really quick.
The Pro Corner.
I love that bass hit every freaking time. Sounds so good. So we got a couple of pieces of news here. We're going to go through it really quick because, well, we don't have a lot to say about them. But this first one's kind of a big deal. 2014 World Championship champion Firebat is no longer with Team Archon. He's a free agent right now. Played for Tempo Storm in this week's, what was it called? The Redbull Team Brawl? Yeah, the Team Brawl.
Oh, Team Brawl, yeah.
And so he's already playing around, and doing some stuff, being courted by Reynad, maybe. Who knows? So we wish him the best of luck. That's feels like a big hit to Archon in a lot of ways. He's an incredible player, regardless on, whatever Archon's vision is. You don't want to lose a guy like Firebat. And so, yeah, what do you guys think about this? What do you think the future holds for James? Do you think he's going to be settling down into a new team soon, or do you think he's going to play the free agency a little bit?
I think he'll be on a new team here pretty soon. I mean, he's a great player. There's going to be teams. He probably has tons of offers already, to be honest, and he'll probably pick whatever is the best. And it's unfortunate for Team Archon, but from the sound of things and everything that transpired with that I don't feel like getting into, it's probably the best for both them to part ways like that.
Yeah, I don't feel like getting into it either.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the way I see it, I think this is kind of interesting because I don't think we'll ever have a free agent like this ever again in the game. Like, someone who's going to win a world championship is probably already going to be on a Hearthstone team, and I don't think we're ever going to have he's the Michael Jordan of Hearthstone, right? I mean, he's just the best player. I mean, I think it's really hard to argue that he's not. I'm pretty sure he's the all-time money winner. He's very, very close. And when you see him at like the height of his powers, like when you see him, practicing or ready for a tournament, it's really hard to stop him. I mean, he's world class in every class of the game and might just be the best in 4 or 5 of them. And this kind of opportunity is not going to happen again. So I have a feeling there's going to be a big bidding war. He's going to be on a team, I agree with JR, pretty relatively soon. It's unfortunate that a lot of the stuff went public. I'm friends with everyone in Archon. I personally know Firebat, or James, as you called him, very well. I lived with him for a bit of time. He's going to land on his feet. I don't think it's going to hurt either one of them badly. This will be forgotten about in a few months. And I think it's better for both of them, honestly. I think they're better off with the split as well. And I'm interested to see how it all pans out, honestly, because I don't think we're going to see anything like this ever again.
Yeah. Think we'll get to see Firebat on New Order Esports?
I was just about to say that, I do manage a team, James. We've been friends. We've lived together. I have an empty room in my house here in Las Vegas. I know you'd probably like it. The weather's great. The water's great too. Michigan dagger there a little bit, but fire and shot.
Too soon.
But, Firebat, if you want to play for a team that will just love you and we're great friends, man. Come play for New Order. I would love to have him on my team. But
I hear that you give really good back rubs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
See, I was thinking about starting up a team and then trying to also get him as well. But then I realized I don't think he can count to 29, and I think that's going to be very important to move on. Did you guys not see that in the Redbull Team Brawl?
I must have missed this.
I must have missed it.
I made a joke that I thought you guys would get, and then you look at me like, "What are you saying?"
We made this. It was a good joke, and we just ruined it.
Right. So I'm going to give just a quick background of what happened in the game. What happened during the Redbull Team Brawl is the way that it was set up is they had the 3 players there playing their games at the same time, right? And there was one turn where Firebat was trying to figure out if he had lethal or not, and they needed 29. He needed 29 to do it, and him and Reynad are sitting there like counting it up, and they're both like, "Yeah, we have 29, we have 29," and then he doesn't. And they only had 28, and they lost because of it.
That's not the first time that's happened to him on stream, or both of them, honestly. Yeah. But we're all human.
Or any pro Hearthstone player ever, yeah.
Yeah.
Video of it's hilarious. I watched it live when it happened, and I was cracking up because they would have, if they had gotten that right, they would have won that match, like the whole entire thing against. They were playing against Team Liquid, and they would have won. They ended up. We'll get into it. They ended up winning the whole thing anyway.
They ended up winning, yeah.
But for that point, it was a really big deal.
Yeah, scoreboard.
The Redbull Team Brawl, hosted partly by Tempo Storm, was won by Tempo Storm. But this was really cool. It's kind of a really polarized kind of consensus about the success or failure of this tournament. I view it as a huge success. There was some media stuff that was kind of weird. They're trying to figure out how do you display, 3 different people on 2 different teams drafting and playing simultaneously? What does that look like? It was like a simulcast in a lot of ways, and it was definitely a huge learning moment, not only for this specific tournament, but for anyone looking to innovate on different formats and different tournament things. And once they got kind of past that initial, like, what does this look like, and just started, going through and playing the games, and, they figured the draft parts out a lot better, I think, towards the end. It was a really fun tournament to watch.
I 100% agree with you. I thought it was awesome. Kudos to these guys for trying something new, because this is the first tournament. I'm pretty sure this is the only time we've seen a tournament where it's switched between games. Like you have a game, then you go to another game, you have another game, and it's not like, oh, we have this match, then when we come back, we'll have this match. So we've never had that happen in Hearthstone before. This is something that happens in other games a lot, and I think we can successfully do this in Hearthstone. The one thing I regret from the tournament that I wanted that they didn't give me, I wanted to see them choose a team, choose Tempo Storm, choose Archon, whoever, one of the big teams, whatever. Let us see them, make a VOD of it if you have to, but let us see them get their decks, put them together, and watch them build them. Like hear their thought process and like see the tournament. Like, you have the pre-story, to get into the tournament. You're not just there and like all of a sudden you see their decks and you don't know what cards they have. But now it like creates this story that you can root for. You're like, oh, I saw their pool and it's really good. Or, oh, their pool didn't look great, but let's see if they can pull it out here because they're great players. And I would love to see that from like a deck builder's perspective.
I think they did that early on.
Did they? I completely missed it.
I think they tried to. Like for me,
it wasn't done very well.
And that's the thing. So they definitely were like trying to show the drafts, but it was at like 4x speed, and you didn't get to. Whereas like I would have liked to just be able to, even if they had it on different channels or whatever, live when everyone's drafting, have it on different channels so you could actually hear the real time drafts, what they're talking about and what they're doing, because that's like really high level stuff. Yeah, that's incredibly interesting for anyone who's interested in deck building and how a pro player thinks about the decks or the cards that they're given. There's a lot of insight in that. I think it would have been really valuable. And I bet you if we do see a Team Brawl number 2, I guarantee you they change what that looks like to honestly align a lot more what kind of you're asking for, Tannon, because you're totally right. That'd be super valuable to have.
Yeah, one of the problems that they had is they had the casters kind of talking about whatever at the point where they had on the screen the draft going on, and you're like, but you don't know why they're picking what they are. If they would have had, and they finally did this at one point where they moved it to the team talking about their picks, but you had 2 different drafts going on at the same time, and they would switch back and forth. So it was a little weird.
They made it though. They made it through.
Regard, but yeah.
And last but not least, in the esports news, Synthetic wins Assembly Winter 2016 versus Vortex. So big congrats. I didn't get to see any of this. They like the first day they didn't even have an English stream up, and they got an English. So there's some random dude with like 800 followers ever, and he was streaming to like 600 people at one point, and then later on they put it up. Yeah, right. Take advantage of that. Seize the moment. Carpe diem. And so, yeah. So congrats there. I want to take this next part, Tannon, to chat with you a little bit, because we're talking esports. Obviously, you're with HPL doing your thing, and now you are with a new team. So tell us about your new Hearthstone venture a little bit.
I like that you kept using the word new there. Yeah, I'm actually the player manager, more managing role of New Order Esports. And if you haven't heard of us, you probably should at some point in time. We're going to be making some pretty big waves this year. We have a 3-person team right now, possible expansion coming in the future. But our 3-person lineup right now, I think it stacks up pretty well against a lot of the 3-person lineups that most teams can put out there. I'm going to wax poetically about my players here for just a second and put out a couple stats. Our first one, like we'll talk about, is Eversiction. He has been top 5 legend at some point in every season that he's played Hearthstone. That is unbelievable.
Wow.
He does a lot of content creation. He does like a meta report for one of the big sites. He's known for deck refining. He's also play tested for big tournaments of people like Firebat and Purple before. So if you get Firebat and Purple's respect in Hearthstone, you're doing something right. The second one, this is probably one of the more well-known players in our team, Astrogation. He's been top 100 legend almost every single month at some point in time over the last year. That's unbelievable, like in how consistent he's been. That also includes double top 100 finishes on NA and EU for the last 2 months combined. So that's 4 times over the last 2 months. He's 13th right now in North America. So he's qualified for the Winter Regionals. And he did actually have a pretty big finish. Do you remember the Esports Arena Invitational that happened?
Yeah, that was that Brian Kibler's thing?
Yeah. That was a few months ago. He actually finished 3rd in that as an open qualifier. So he had to win a lot more than anyone else there. And the third member of our team, this is man, I love this guy. He is what I like to call the most well-kept secret in Hearthstone. If you haven't heard of this guy's name, I really guarantee you will sometime this year. Crimzig. The guy is an open series monster. If you remember the Firebat Open that had 1,024 players, yeah, he won it. And then the next week, New Order put on an open. Yeah, he won that one. And then the week after that, well, he didn't win that one, but he lost in the finals. So that's a pretty good 3-tournament stretch. He's also top 25 in AC points, so he'll be playing in a winter regional as well. So our team's going to be well represented at the regionals, and there's a good chance you're going to see at least one of my guys at BlizzCon this year.
I just wanted to point out that I am a free agent.
Oh, okay.
And we'll probably remain that way.
I just wanted to put it out there.
I am too.
Send me a resume. I'll see what I can do.
I do a podcast.
Well, you talk on a podcast.
I talk on a podcast. It is true. I do face hunter rants on a podcast.
It's true.
Right, we need a face hunter player. Maybe we can get you in.
I've got 18 deck slots with face hunter.
God, stop it.
This one's got
right
Blade Juggler. This one doesn't. This one's got 1.
So, Tannon, I hear that New Order may be doing a little thing with Esports Hero, a little something. What?
Yeah, so I'm going to have a little bit of a teaser for you guys, but first I'm going to give you the thing that I can talk about the most. At New Order, we do have a bi-weekly tournament that we run. It's completely free. We give out a few $100s in prizes and World Championship points. So it's a pretty good deal. You can make some money. We actually stream the top 8s. I usually do the casting with VLPS, one hell of a Hearthstone player himself. That guy, I think one of the most underrepresented guys in the world. He's unbelievably good.
He was top 16 in NA last year, right?
Yeah, and he's qualified for regionals, so there's a good chance you'll see him there again. You know, he made a deep run at BlizzCon. Guys, he represented America in the U.S. versus China, the match that we won with Firebat and those guys. So we do that about every 2 weeks. Sometimes we take an extra week off if there's a big tournament going on or a release or something like that. But I can kind of tease something that we're doing with Esports Hero. You guys might be a little familiar with them. You can do matches on their site for a little bit more than what you normally play for on the ladder and stuff. I know I enjoy having a little extra on my games. You know, I do live in Las Vegas here, but so I can't tell you everything, but they have a new tournament series coming out that I'm going to be involved with, and I might be getting the band back together. That's Admirable might be a little involved with it as well, where they're going to have kind of a King of the Hill type tournament coming up, and there's going to be some really cool parts. So it's going to be something you've never seen before. It's going to be like Hero of the Hill, obviously, since they're Esports Hero. But it's going to be funded. There's going to be money on the line for these guys, so they're going to be playing really hard against each other. But there's some cool aspects to it, too. I can't go super in-depth, but the viewers are going to be allowed to make donations into the prize pool and have stipulations at some point in time, possibly. It's all right, so JR, you're going to play John this week, right? So there's the normal prize pool, but someone added a little extra in the prize pool. So the loser of this match has to cosplay as the winner. So there's a little bit extra on the line for you this week and stuff. And so that's going to be pretty cool.
We've had that bet before.
Oh, have you? Oh, yeah. Who won that one?
I did.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, so that's in the works. I'm really, really excited about that. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I'll definitely have some more announcements. And follow Esports Hero and New Order as well. And we'll have all kinds of announcements over the next couple months. A lot of big things coming down the line from these guys.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it should be a
really
lot
cool.
of fun.
All right.
Sounds like fun.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm in. I'd be happy to be there.
Cosplaying as Tannon.
Beat up or join up.
All right, we got to move on to the meta here. We're having too much fun. We're having too much fun.
You guys are great. I love you guys.
We need to help people be better at Hearthstone. So let's talk about the meta this week. So not a whole lot. Nothing's really been posted for meta reports yet. However, Team Celestial, a really big, maybe arguably the only large team out in China, is they do a meta report similar to Liquid Hearth and Tempo Storm and Hearthhead, brought to you by our very own Kevin Hobdestad. But anyways, and somebody went ahead and they actually translated the meta report, so we get to kind of see what they're looking at over in China. And it's pretty interesting. Let's run through the top 5 here and maybe talk about some of the differences or surprises that might be here. So top 5, we've got mid-range Druid, Zulok, Aggro Shaman, Secret Paladin, and Reno Warlock. JR, I'm actually really interested in your perspective on this list and on this ranking here. I feel like you might like this, except for Aggro Shaman. You hate? Am I correct?
I don't agree with the Aggro Shaman being as high as it is. As far as, I would still probably put it in the top 5. I'd probably have it at number 5. I think the mistake that I would say in here is Reno Warlock, even though Tannon is a master at it and thinks it's awesome.
It's very good.
Fight. They have Freeze Mage at number 12, and that I still think is a top 5 deck. And I would replace that. I would have probably Secret Paladin number 2, Zulok number 3, let's see, Secret Paladin number 2, Zulok number 3. What am I missing here? I can't count. Freeze Mage would be up there, but Aggro Shaman would drop.
All right.
So number 5. Sorry. Yeah. Freeze Mage number 4, Aggro Shaman number 5.
All right. Well, Tannon, what would you? Are you on par with this? Do you kind of keep track of the Chinese meta at all? Is that what you do in your spare time?
It's kind of hard to keep up with their meta, honestly, unless you watch, some of their tournament streams. It's they don't get as much exposure in the West as some of the other things should. But I mean, I found this very interesting. Secret Paladin number 4 surprised me a little bit, but anyone who's heard me talk about the game, I think the deck is coming a little bit back, to par. It's not as dominant as it was, so I can, kind of see where they're going with this. You see how aggressive the guys are in the Eastern scene, which is something that we've known for a little bit more. They love to go face out East. The biggest thing for me, JR touched this, is the fact that you have, I'm looking at it right now, by the way, you have number 12 as Freeze Mage and Tempo Mage at number 16. That seems very low for both of those decks for me, especially with how popular the other decks are that are at the top of the range and how good they are against those decks. So it seems like maybe they're just unrepresented in people playing it out in the East, because that's a big thing. If people just don't play the deck enough, it's not going to put up the results to be high enough on this thing. And if we look at the other, meta snapshots, I'm sure we'll talk about the other one in a minute, you're going to see a drastic difference in the mage decks between the two. And I think it's the biggest difference that you see from them.
I want to ask you a question, though, Tannon, because John was excited that he felt that I needed Aggro Shaman to be lower. What is your thoughts on Aggro Shaman?
It beats the crap out of me in most of the lineups that I bring. I'm never excited to see Shaman across from the board because Saltarant, they always draw perfect against me. I'm always dead on turn 5. And I think the deck is very good, just a little inconsistent. I know I've seen your rants on it about how inconsistent the deck is. I know you never draw well with it, but I think the deck is very good, and I think it's healthy that it's there.
I would like it if it worked for me, but it just doesn't.
If it was more consistent, it would just be the best deck in the game. There would be no reason not to play it,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. It's consistent when it's played against me.
Yeah, there you go.
It is very consistent when I play it because I don't draw, my opponents do.
Yeah, in the recent tournament that I played in, I snap banned Shaman every single time it was in my opponent's 4-deck class.
But I do say that Doomhammer plus Rock Biter Weapon is pretty awesome. Like, if you don't draw into that or get it, it's very tough to win with that deck, in my opinion. But if you get that, it's almost easy mode. So
I find the thing I keep hearing about that deck is that if you don't know when to, and Ten and I were talking about before the show this about Hunter, is if you don't know when to turn the corner and don't know what your reach is in that deck, it becomes very hard to kind of win consistently. But the players who know, like, when it's time to just start directing everything face, it can be a really dangerous and more consistent, I think, than JR, what you're experiencing, but, still not like the most completely consistent, super hyper aggro deck.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought that up, John. I told you before this, I think the most underrepresented and it's funny that we're saying this. The deck that I think is under the radar the most right now in Hearthstone is Mid-Range Hunter, and they have it at 19 on their list. I would go so far to say that I think it's a top 5 deck right now. I think it has some slight problems in the Reno matchup against their it's hard to beat Reno Lock anyway when they have their really good draws, but it's really hard for you to beat their decent draws too unless you have a good one. But I like its matchup against most of the top 10 decks that are played right now. And you're not seeing a lot of Patron right now on any of the things, which is one of your other bad matchups. I love its matchup versus almost everything. I might be a little biased because I mentioned again the tournament that I just played in. I think I played something like 9 or 10 matches, and I think I may have taken one loss of my Hunter deck, and it never got banned. And I just completely punished people for it.
So has Mid-Range Hunter changed
Yes.
in the last several weeks or so? Like, what cards are they including now in Mid-Range Hunter that they didn't before?
Well, I mean, I think mid-range is the wrong way to say it. I kind of misspoke. It's more like hybrid if you want to get super, technical about it. The list that I'm mostly running is the one that Orange won a recent DreamHack with, and you don't have Dr. Boom. Like, you curve out to Savannah High Main, so you don't get as many draws where you just don't do anything on the first couple turns, but you do still have Arcane Golem in your deck, and that's what makes it different. You have Arcane Golem and Savannah High Main. And John touched on this for a second. Knowing when to turn the corner with this deck is really important. There's some turns on turn 5 where they're at 20, and you're like, all right, I just have to Arcane Golem them and Hero Power them, 6 them in the face, and just hope it's going to be good enough over the next 2 or 3 turns. And knowing when you can Arcane Golem your opponent, giving your Druid opponent 8 or 9 mana doesn't, 7 or 8 mana, doesn't matter. They're going to do the same thing on those 2 turns. So knowing that's a big deal. But also, the playing with Knife Juggler in that deck is a big skill tester. I've joked about how the fact that it's almost not a 2-drop anymore. Sometimes you need it for tempo, but holding it is right in a lot of your matchups and stuff. And if you're looking for a deck to beat Secret Paladin, if you're one of those guys that hates it, give this deck a try, and your win rate's going to be a lot better than you think it is if you play well.
Dan, I love how before the show, you and I talk about everything that we're going to keep secret for ourselves so that we can wreck ladder. Yeah. We've broken all 3 of those promises this episode.
You'll be fine, John. You'll be fine. You can still play it. You'll still be all right.
All right. That's fair. Man, I think, have we hit it all? I love the hybrid / mid-range druid recommendation, or hunter. Sorry. Is there anything else we want to recommend to our listeners to run on the ladder this week?
Are you guys surprised by Druid being number 1 across the board?
Not right now anymore. It's by far the best deck, has the best win rate. It's very difficult to play against. I don't know. The only thing I'm surprised about is Freeze Mage, just because Freeze Mage has so many really good matchups. Mid-Range Hunter struggles, and Mid-Range Hunters, I keep saying Mid-Range Hunter, Mid-Range Druid struggles against Mage, a little bit of Paladin, a little bit of Warlock, so it's no surprise to me that those are also kind of up there, except for Mage, which should be. But it's just one of those decks that is very difficult to play against, just because of their combo can just go off The sticky minions are a problem, and if they just get going, it's a very tough deck to beat, because if they get you to 14 health before turn 9, you're dead.
I'm a big fan of Druid being number 1 because most of the decks that I run do very well against Druid. So, guys, keep playing Druid at home. Everyone on the ladder, just keep playing it, please. I love it.
That's what I play. It's worked out so far.
Yeah, the deck's, insanely powerful. There's a reason why it's ranked number 1. What ramp do you play? Do you only play 2 Wild Growths? I
play 2 Wild Growths, 2 Innervates. I do not play with the Aspirants.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm back to playing 1, and I kind of like it.
Yep, I've got 1 in mind, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play with 1 Shade of Naxxramas and 1 Mind Control Tech instead.
That version's really good too. Eversiction plays that one a lot on my team.
Yeah. I definitely think I like that you brought up Freeze Mage and then right after that mid-range Druid, because I think that's one of the main reasons why those two stay kind of ranked the way that they are. Like, I definitely think Freeze Mage should be, top 5, maybe squeak in at 6 if you really want to, feel adamantly about it. But, Druid does so well against Freeze Mage. And really, it's worst matchups. So it's absolute worst matchups. And this is just according to Tempo Storm, which you can always argue are super accurate or super not. Its worst one is Tempo Mage, which is at a 30% win rate. But everything else is 35% or higher, which means that almost every game is winnable with a talented Druid, and I think that's why I am okay with it at number 1. It's not just like a Secret Paladin you just lay down. Is it green? Lay it down. Is it green? Lay it down. It's much more tactful. It's still not like the most difficult deck by any means, but it's a different type of thinking when you play mid-range Druid, and so I like it at top. I think it's fairly healthy. I think Savage Roar combo, Force of Nature, Savage Roar needs to probably change in the long run. But I think it's a good number 1 deck.
Yeah, and those classic cards on Druid are just crazy. Like, I remember before Hearthstone was even out and people were having tournaments on Cockatrice, they got to the point, Mana Grind was having the tournaments, they got to the point where they just banned Druid altogether from the tournaments because it was just so overpowered in that format.
Yeah. Guys, you know what? I think we got to get out of here. It has been a really fun show. We're going a little long this week. This is fun. Tannon, thank you so much for being here, man. It's always a blast. You can come on anytime you want.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I absolutely adore the show, so anytime you need an extra person or, let's say JR's catching a Royals game or something, just let me know. I'll be on.
You got it. I promise.
April 3rd.
April 3rd. All right, we're penciling them in. See Tannon back here, April 3rd, and we'll go back. So quick housekeeping stuff. Huge thank you to our new patrons this week: Steve R., Drew M., Matt, and Ryan S. Thank you guys so much. Welcome to welcome to our Patreon. I hope you enjoy it. And again, a big thank you to Martin Z and Jeremy A, who are our friends of the show this month. Big thanks to them for supporting the show. iTunes reviews, we did have one, and I'm going to go ahead and stall. Actually, no, I'm not, because it was my little brother. You gotta love that. That's right, and it's like, hey, I sent you a 5-star review. So thanks, little bro. I'm still better than you at Rocket League. And
that's a true story. Played with
I'm actually getting really good at Rocket League. I'm getting deadly.
I'm gonna have to learn this game just so I can kick your ass at it.
Why? You already got Hearthstone. You already got Hearthstone. Although,
John, I gotta have all of it.
I will dominate you at Halo.
Oh, you know I was a pro Halo player, right?
Yes, you know I was ranked in the top 50 in the world, right?
You're probably better than I am then.
I get to be better than Tannon at something. Yay!
You're definitely better now. You're definitely better right now. I guarantee that.
I love inviting people onto the show and then telling them how much better I am at something than them. I hear it's a great way to get them to come back.
Oh, I'll be back anytime, buddy. Keep brushing up on those Halo skills.
All right, I will. We'll have to do it again. Well, let's talk about what you guys are up to this week. Any shout-outs, any things you want to put out there? Tannon, I'll let you go first, of course.
Yeah, we got a new order open in just about 2 weeks, guys. It's going to be on Strivewire, so make sure you follow us on Twitter. We'll tell you when the signups go live for that. We do award HTC points, and there's a few $100 in the prize pool as well. And the top 8 does get cast by myself, and someone you should be a little more excited about in VLPS. So you can see yourself get cast during a Twitch match. It's going to be pretty cool, and they do cap out every single time, so make sure you get in early.
And on a serious note, everybody who's listening to this, go follow at the Tannon Grace on Twitter right now. The dude's amazing on social media, and have him coach you on Reno Lock or something like that. Yeah, Tannon, we got to hang out so much during BlizzCon. It was an absolute blast. I can't wait. I hope we get to do it again this year.
That'll happen for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, JR. Tell us what you're up to this week.
Yeah. So I'm gonna mention this every single week. We have a team, Blizz Pro team for the Extra Life charity. If you are interested in joining that and helping us raise money for the Children's Miracle Network, feel free to do so. We will have prizes throughout the year. Those aren't determined yet, but we will have some pretty awesome prizes. If you want to join, it's extralife.blizzpro.com. Click that little join team and help us raise some money there. Also, if you want to come join and chat with us, we do have a Discord voice server. We are Discord partners, so we get that special VIP voice channel or whatever they have, whatever it's called. If you want to come and hang out and chat with us, either text or on voice, it's free to do so. It's an awesome web app. I really like it. It's at discord.blizzpro.com. So come by there and come say hi.
Awesome. As for me, it's my birthday tomorrow. Turning 26.
Birthday.
Thank you. And Overwatch beta comes back tomorrow on my birthday. You're welcome, world. If I was born a couple weeks later, we wouldn't have Overwatch beta for another couple weeks. So I'll be playing some of that.
A few bucks so you can get a drink on me.
All right, sounds good. I will get. There's these really good. We have a New Belgian brewery here, and they're amazing. So that's probably what I'll end up doing tomorrow, and it'll be great. So yeah, that's about it for me. Got a lot of school. I'm hopefully going to play a bunch of Hearthstone and stream some. So you guys should definitely come by and say hey. And yeah, well, I think that about wraps it up. So Well Met records live every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over at twitch.tv/BlizzPro. Our intro and outro music are amazing, and so is the guy who made it, Jake Buttineau. Go check out his work over at jakebuttineau.ca. If you're hanging out in the post show, I'm actually going to play for you the clip of the rough track. You just can't show Kevin. Kevin is not allowed to hear the new intro and outro because it is driving him nuts. He wants to hear it so bad. You can find us throughout the week on Twitter at WellMetPodcast or send us an email to wellmet@blizzpro.com. All patrons of $1 or more will have special access to our Patreon-only Facebook group. So you can find out more how you can support over at patreon.com/wellmetpodcast. We just started sending out invites today. So if you start and you pledge $1 or more, it's just first come, first serve. As you pledge, we send you the invite. And for as long as you stay supporting, you stay with us, and we're chatting all sorts of cool things. There's a bunch of people in there already, so we're having a lot of fun there. We also have a lot of fun in our subreddit, so reddit.com/r/wellmetpodcast. And last but not least, find us on your favorite podcast outlets. Guys, this has been episode number 47. 3 more until we hit episode 50. We're getting to be an old show. This is amazing.
50 is going to be a good one, too.
It is. I'm working on some stuff. It's going to be awesome.
I'm definitely tuning in for that one.
Thanks, Tannon, again for being here. I love you.
No problem. I love you too, buddy.
We'll see you guys next week.
You can find John on Twitter at KickedTripod and on Twitch at twitch.tv/KickedTripod. You can find JR on Twitter at Eldorian and on Twitch at twitch.tv/BlizzPro. And you can find Kevin on Twitter at Lack of Realism and on Twitch at twitch.tv/OdinTV. BlizzPro.com. Beyond Noob.